right, automotive enthusiasts or car critic desk jockeys. I'm here with the all-new Subaru WRX. This is the 5th generation. I'm going to talk about 5 new things about this newbie, Subie. I just made that up.
First, the platform. The WRX now rides on Subaru's global platform, and that should give it a major upgrade when it comes to ride handling and performance thanks to a stiffer overall body structure, more torsional rigidity, and a lower center of gravity.
So do these things make a difference when it comes to the handling and the ride quality? Yes, they do. I feel a lot more composure, a lot more control, and a whole lot less body roll when I'm turning around corners.
The suspension is tuned for a track-like driving experience. And yes, it's got the requisite stiffness, but Subaru's made some tweaks that really work. They've made an adjustment to the roll center, moved it up a bit to help mitigate body roll, and the stabilizer bar is now mounted to the body of the car. That really makes a difference with body roll, but it also allows softer bushings to be used for a more comfortable ride, which the WRX absolutely delivers. This is not STI territory, but you know what? This one isn't meant to be.
So the engine that powers the WRX is Subaru's 2.4-liter turbocharged Boxer engine. You're going to get 271 horsepower out of this, 258 pound-feet of torque, but they've broadened the torque curve from 2,000 RPM to 5,200 RPM. So if you are one of those drivers who likes to really go deep into the rev range, you're going to be able to do that and harness all of that power a little bit better and have more control of how you're driving.
It's also got new valve springs, which will last longer while you're living higher in the rev range, and an electric wastegate valve to sustain torque at the lower end of the range. I did hear one other journalist say that they felt like it was underpowered, but you know what, especially in the twisty mountain roads, I did not experience that. The only thing I experienced was a lot of very enjoyable driving.
So I'm driving the manual in the WRX right now, and you know, the gearbox is really great. The shifts are really smooth. The throws are a little bit longer, I'm noticing, than they were in the Civic Si, but you know what? It's a small nitpick and probably a little small price to pay. So Subaru does employ a CVT, only they're not really calling it a CVT anymore. They're calling it the Subaru Performance Transmission. There will definitely be more to talk about that, but I don't know, is a CVT by any other name still a CVT?
According to Subaru, this performance transmission will have 30% quicker, quote, upshifts and 50% faster, quote, downshifts than their previous CVT. Now, of course, I use those words loosely because the CVT doesn't have actual gears, it just mimics them. There's also a rev matching feature under braking, say around a turn, and that's said to respond faster when you're coming out of the turn.
So we're going to have to wait to verify all of that because, you know what, it's just not available to drive yet. But you know, if there is a better CVT that is going to be available on the market, I'm all for it. I can't wait to drive it, so stay tuned.
Let's talk about the interior and exterior. This is already the subject of chatter on the worldwide complaint box. Some folks aren't fans of the new character creases and lines, the weird body cladding, some dig it. But this is a completely different car from the Impreza now. 0 shared sheet metal and both longer and wider than the previous generation WRX. At the front end, the wide hexagonal grille partners with some LED headlights and that WRX hood scoop, making it low and wider. The rear gets a low-profile deck lid spoiler and some new tail lights. I really like the new profile. It also gets a more sloping roofline, which does limit rear seat headroom just a little bit. There's some new functioning aero, including an outlet behind the front wheels that helps with cooling if you're burning up your brakes on a track. To that end, all of the aero on the WRX is functional.
So let's talk about the interior for a really quick second. The Subaru gets a pretty big vertical tablet, comes with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all great. The interior is pretty driver focused. I'm actually enjoying the experience right now. Let me talk for 1 second about the seats because they're really comfortable and There's no leather available, so I thought this was pretty smart. Subaru is now using either fabric or ultra suede on the higher trims, so you don't slosh around in a leather seat. It works, and I like it.
Standard are 2 dual 7-inch stacked screens, but you can upgrade to Multimedia Plus and get a larger screen setup. But it's still got physical buttons for important things like volume and HVAC functions. The seats can get as fancy as a set of Recaros with contrast stitching in the new WRX GT trim level, as well as a flat-bottom steering wheel. Speaking of that GT trim, that is the highest trim level that also gets electronically controlled dampers and other drive settings above and beyond the standard SI settings when you get into Sport or Sport Plus mode. There is an unofficial track mode on all WRX models, which delays the automatic controls of the vehicle, or you can turn the nannies off altogether. Driver, be responsible.
So Subaru has employed a new dual pinion steering, which is supposed to sort of provide more of a natural steering feel. And you know what? It does for the most part. You're still not going to get much, if any, feedback from the road, which is a little disappointing when you're driving a sportier car. But I mean, that's to be expected in modern vehicles these days.
There's plenty of safety here, folks. Subaru's EyeSight driver's assistance technology gets some interesting enhancements, like an expanded angle of view, advanced adaptive cruise control with a lane centering function, and an automatic emergency steering function that will help with evasive driving maneuvers that works with the pre-collision braking system. It's important to note that these features are only available on the cars equipped with the Subaru Performance transmission. They are not available on the manual. If the WRX isn't your brand of sporty practicality, you can always check out the Honda Civic Si or Type R, the upcoming Acura Integra, the Hyundai Veloster N, and the Volkswagen Golf GTI or R.
Hey, I think a track comparison with all of those cars that I just mentioned would be a really brilliant idea. Please tell Micah and Danger that in the comments and make it happen.
Pricing and fuel economy numbers are not yet available, but expect the WRX to be on sale in the second quarter of next year. Okay, so that's just an introductory snapshot, but we are very interested to get our hands on the Subaru Performance transmission version of the WRX to see if those improvements really make a difference.
Subaru has made a ton of changes to really improve the handling, the ride quality, the performance, and you know what? All of those changes are 100% showing up. And that's not even talking about all of the boxes that the WRX checks off as a practical daily driver. Win, win.